Hey, good afternoon. Happy Venus Friday. And yes, I want that Venus Friday to become a thing, but that's ego. And this day is sacred to Freya, the Norse goddess of love and harmony and equilibrium. So there's the Venus Friday. Anyway, this is the last full day of summer. We start the fall equinox tomorrow. And the thing about going from Virgo to Libra is that since the spring and summer are time periods where we build the ego, it's like feeding or fattening the cow for sacrifice. And Virgo is transitional from all of the egocentricity or the full flowering of the ego on the world stage in Leo. And Virgo is where you work out the kinks, work out the flaws, and hence where they get the hypercritical voice and also expression. But that's what they're here to do, is to remind us of what works. And since it's a tangible, adaptable earth sign, it can be expansive, attaching to all those details of day-to-day living, versus noticing where things are lacking, or it can be somewhere in the middle of the spectrum where, like the sandwich technique, they start off with a compliment about what you're doing well, and then the meat of the conversation is the notes or how you can do better, and then the last piece of the bread is where you end on a positive note. So just do a reflection of spring. And Pluto was in Aquarius, which he will return there in January 20th. And Pluto represents where we have to leave our ego at the door. And Aquarius is already searching for the ego outside of itself and its ideals and its community and its tribe or squad. And so Pluto in Aquarius promises for the next 20 years, when he's finally there for that length of time in November of 2024, the transformation of individual responsibility and to our groups. First group or community is our family. So all of us, look at all the transitions that maybe you got hints of about where your family or where your group or where your institutions and your colleagues this last spring of 2023, where you started to see glimmers of where you needed to maybe change and grow up, and realize that as we cusp or move from the Pisces age, which started around the advent of our common era, or BCAD, with Christ and Christian consciousness of loving your neighbor as yourself. That was a concept that was foreign and radical 2,000 years ago, and I'd make the argument we still haven't learned it. But this Pluto transition coming up, we're all being called to move from the ideas of original sin. And you can say, what does that have to do with where we are in Virgo? Well, ages are represent the actual, the Aquarian age, but the complementary sign, of the sign that's 180 degrees away, bringing harmony or bringing the shadow first, which brings the harmony, is Leo. So even though it's called the age of Aquarius, there's a Leo energy of grace and dignity to the individual participation, individual effort, showing up and following through on one's commitments. Another way to look at what's coming up is the age of transparency. And with the Virgo energy that we're ending today, you can look over the past couple months with the retrograde Venus, the retrograde Mercury, um, in Leo and then in Virgo, respectively. You can look and say, what has my individual process been regarding how and what's behind my communication, what's behind my relationships, and how I can recommit or reevaluate uh, said relationship. And as we go into Libra season, um, with the fall equinox tomorrow on the 23rd, and then the Libra new moon falls on October 14th, uh, just know that the beginning of October can be shaky regarding power imbalances, not only between nations, but sought after in our intimate and close relationships, and then moving out from there in terms of work and collaborations of all kinds. As Mars comes up to eventually square Pluto in the beginning of the week of the 10th, 11th, as well as um, Pluto going direct next month around the 8th or 9th. And I've got my dates a little skewed, but I'm just giving you the DIY, do it yourself, to find out when Mars and Pluto come together. And if you give me a second, uh, I can look that up for you because it happens around that new moon and that Pluto going direct. Um, just yes, the Mars squares Pluto on Sunday, October 8th, and then Pluto goes direct on what day is that? On October 10th. So just know 3 days before October the 5th, Pluto and Mars square off from Libra to Capricorn, which both sides are about harmony and equilibrium. Capricorn just tends to be more the war weary side of the harmony. Ugh, here we go again, kind of thing. And Libra tends to be the more idealistic warrior that is fighting for to balance injustice or to balance justice within the. You get the point. And then with the fact that Pluto's stationary direct on the 10th, that's a lot of Pluto energy. And Mars tends to be the personal actor outside of the deeper Pluto motivations. So those of us that are born late in the cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, or very early in the fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, just be on guard regarding the what's ego, what's self-interest, what's looking only at what's good for you and your best interest vis-a-vis what's in the collective interest, and understanding we're being pulled more toward the we, but we've got to know the I first, who we are and what's in our best interest in order to negotiate from a position of equality. So happy fall equinox, and remember that you can always subscribe to the YouTube channel Consciously Cherry One, subscribe here, as well as looking at our raw material and subscribing there. This season with our raw material, the 12 pillars, we're going to combine music for each week. So music of our mentors, music of food for the third week, and then music for wholeness with the 12th week, and going through all of those. So thanks for listening and subscribing, and really appreciate your support.